Hello and welcome back to the series. In the previous episode, you've learned that wealth exists in consciousness first, and that there's a parallel reality where you're already abundantly wealthy. Now comes the most crucial question. How do you actually access that wealth and bring it into your lived experience? The answer lies in understanding and applying the law of assumption, the most powerful principle for deliberately creating your financial reality. This isn't just another manifestation technique. This is the fundamental law that governs how consciousness creates form. Most people approach wealth creation from a state of hoping, wishing, or wanting. They hope they'll get a raise, wish they could afford their dream house, or want to become financially free someday. While these desires aren't wrong, they actually reinforce the very lack they're trying to overcome. Here's why. When you hope, wish, or want something, you're unconsciously affirming that you don't currently have it. You're operating from a consciousness of lack, and the law of assumption responds by creating more experiences of lacking what you desire. An assumption is completely different from hope or desire. An assumption is a mental state you accept as true, regardless of current evidence to the contrary. When you assume something, you're not hoping it will happen. You're accepting that it's already true in consciousness, and therefore must eventually manifest in experience. Let's look at the practical difference. Hoping, wishing, wanting consciousness sounds like this. I hope I'll be wealthy someday. I wish I could afford that. I want to be financially free. Maybe if I work hard enough, I'll try to manifest money. Assumption consciousness sounds like this. I am wealthy. Money flows to me naturally. Financial abundance is my normal state. Of course, I can afford what I desire. Wealth is simply who I am. Feel the difference between these two states. Hope and wishing carry an energy of separation and lack. Assumption carries an energy of certainty and possession. The power of an assumption lies not in its repetition, but in your conviction. A single assumption, held with complete conviction, will manifest faster than 1,000 affirmations spoken without real belief. Conviction isn't something you work up to. It's something you choose. You can choose to be as convinced of your wealth as you are of your own name. The only difference is that you've had more practice assuming your name than assuming your wealth. This distinction is so important that it deserves its own section. Most people are trapped in wanting money consciousness, not realizing that this very wanting is what keeps money away from them. When you want money, you're unconsciously affirming several limiting beliefs. I don't have enough money. Money is separate from me. I am in a state of lack. My wealth depends on external circumstances. The universe, or the law of assumption, is always saying yes to your dominant consciousness. When your dominant consciousness is I want money, the universe says yes, by giving you more experiences of wanting money, not experiences of having money. This is why people can spend years trying to manifest money without significant results. They're manifesting perfectly. They're just manifesting the experience of wanting money rather than the experience of having it. Being wealthy is an entirely different consciousness. When you assume the state of being wealthy, you feel abundant regardless of your current bank balance. You make decisions from wealth consciousness. You expect money to flow to you naturally. You're generous because you know abundance is infinite. You feel worthy of prosperity and success. This isn't about pretending or acting. This is about recognizing that wealth is fundamentally a state of consciousness, not a bank balance. When you consistently occupy the consciousness of wealth, your bank balance must eventually match your consciousness. The shift from wanting money to being wealthy is fundamentally an identity shift. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who needs to get wealthy, you see yourself as someone who is wealthy. You're just waiting for the external world to catch up with your inner reality. This identity shift changes everything. Your thoughts change. Instead of thinking, how can I get money? You think, how shall I use my abundance? Your feelings change. Instead of anxiety about money, you feel secure and provided for. Your actions change. You make decisions from abundance rather than scarcity. Your relationships change. People respond to your wealth consciousness. Your opportunities change. you notice and attract wealth-building possibilities. Now let's explore the mechanics of how assumptions actually create your financial reality. Understanding this process removes the mystery from wealth creation and gives you precise control over your financial future. Your assumptions about money create a continuous feedback loop that shapes your financial experience. First comes assumption. You hold a deep belief about money, conscious or unconscious. This influences your perception. The assumption filters what you notice and ignore in your environment. This changes your emotion. The perception generates emotions that match the belief. These emotions drive actions that align with your emotional state. Your actions create results that confirm the original assumption. You get reinforcement. The results strengthen the assumption, continuing the cycle. Let's see how this works with both limiting and empowering assumptions. Limiting assumption cycle. Assumption: money is hard to come by. Perception: you notice obstacles, problems, and evidence of financial difficulty. Emotion: you feel stressed, worried, and insecure about money. Action: you make decisions from fear, work harder for less, avoid risks. Results: you struggle financially, money feels difficult to earn. Reinforcement: see, I was right. Money is hard to come by. Now let's see an empowering assumption cycle. Assumption: money flows to me easily. Perception: you notice opportunities, resources, and evidence of abundance. Emotion: you feel confident, expectant, and secure about money. Action: you make decisions from abundance. Take inspired action. Embrace opportunities. Results: money comes to you through various channels with apparent ease. Reinforcement: of course, money does flow to me easily. The law of assumption responds to persistence, not intensity. A moderate assumption held consistently will manifest more reliably than an intense assumption held sporadically. This is why it's better to assume a state of general abundance throughout your day than to do intense visualization sessions once in a while. Your continuous background assumptions are far more powerful than your peak manifestation moments. Think of it like training a muscle. Consistent, moderate exercise over time builds more strength than occasional intense workouts. Similarly, consistent wealth consciousness builds more manifesting power than sporadic bursts of positive thinking. One of the most important principles to understand is that assumptions are more powerful than circumstances. Your current financial circumstances are the result of your past assumptions. Your current assumptions are creating your future circumstances. This means you never need to wait for circumstances to change before you can assume wealth. In fact, waiting for circumstances to change keeps you trapped in the old assumption that created those circumstances in the first place. Instead, you assume wealth consciousness now, regardless of current circumstances, and allow the circumstances to change in response to your new assumption. Most people are trapped in limitation consciousness when it comes to money. This consciousness operates like a self-perpetuating system that keeps them financially stuck, despite their best efforts to change their situation. Before you can change your assumptions, you need to identify what they currently are. Many of your most powerful assumptions about money operate unconsciously, so this requires some detective work. Here's how to identify your current money assumptions. Look at your results. Your current financial situation is a perfect reflection of your dominant money assumptions. If you're struggling, you have assumptions about struggle. If you're comfortable but not wealthy, you have assumptions about limitation. Notice your emotional responses. Pay attention to how you feel when you think about money. Do you feel anxious, excited, guilty, worthy, afraid, confident? Your emotions reveal your assumptions. Observe your inner dialogue. What do you say to yourself about money? I can't afford that. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy. I have to work hard for money. These phrases reveal limiting assumptions. Watch your reactions. How do you react when you see expensive things? When bills arrive? When others talk about money? When opportunities arise? Your reactions reveal your assumptions. Here are some of the most common limiting assumptions that keep people financially stuck. Number 1, scarcity assumptions. There's not enough money to go around. If I have more, someone else has less. Money is limited and scarce. I have to compete for financial resources. Number 2, unworthiness assumptions. I don't deserve to be wealthy. Wealth is for other people, not me. I'm not smart, talented, lucky enough to be rich. Good people don't focus on money. Number 3, difficulty assumptions. Money is the root of all evil. You have to work hard for every dollar. Making money requires sacrifice. Wealth comes at the expense of happiness, relationships, or health. Number 4, identity assumptions. I'm just not a money person. I come from a poor family, so I'll always struggle. Creative or spiritual people aren't good with money. I'm destined to be middle class. Breaking free from limitation consciousness isn't about fighting your limiting beliefs. It's about replacing them with empowering assumptions. Here's the process. Step 1. Clearly identify the specific assumption that's creating your financial limitation. Step 2. For every limiting assumption, create its empowering opposite. For example, money is scarce. Money is abundant and infinite. I don't deserve wealth. I deserve unlimited abundance. Money is hard to earn. Money flows to me effortlessly. I'm bad with money. I'm naturally wealthy and abundant. Step 3. Embody the new assumption. Don't just think the new assumption, embody it. Feel what it would be like if this assumption were absolutely true. How would you feel? How would you move through the world? Step 4. Live from the new assumption. Make decisions, take actions, and respond to situations from your new assumption rather than your old one. This is where the real change happens. Step 5. Persist despite evidence. Continue to embody your new assumption even when external circumstances seem to contradict it. Remember, circumstances are following consciousness, not leading it. When you change your fundamental assumptions about money, you set in motion what Neville Goddard called a bridge of incidents, a series of events, encounters, and opportunities that will lead to the manifestation of your new assumption. These incidents might seem natural and logical in retrospect, but they're actually the universe reorganizing itself to match your new consciousness. Your job is to maintain your new assumption regardless of what appears to be happening. Stay alert to opportunities that align with your wealth consciousness. Take inspired action when opportunities present themselves. And trust the process even when you can't see the full picture. An assumption becomes fact through a process called hardening. When you first adopt a new assumption, it might feel soft or tentative. But as you persist with it, it gradually hardens into unshakable conviction. And once it hardens, it must manifest as fact in your experience. The hardening process happens through repetition, consistently returning to your wealth assumption, emotionally embodying the assumption until it feels natural, making decisions from the assumption until it becomes automatic, and persistence, maintaining the assumption despite contradictory appearances. As we conclude this chapter, it's time for you to consciously choose your new wealth assumption. This isn't just an intellectual exercise. This is you literally choosing your financial future. Here are some powerful wealth assumptions to consider. I am wealthy and abundant in all areas of my life. Money flows to me easily from multiple sources. I am worthy of unlimited financial abundance. Wealth is my natural state of being. I effortlessly attract opportunities for financial growth. Money is my friend and ally. I am financially free and secure. Abundance is my birthright. Choose the assumption that resonates most deeply with you, or create your own. The specific words matter less than your conviction in the assumption. Starting now, your practice is simple but profound. Choose your wealth assumption and write it down. Feel into the assumption several times throughout each day. Make decisions from the assumption rather than from your circumstances. Persist with the assumption regardless of what appears to be happening. Expect evidence of your assumption to show up in your experience. Remember, an assumption, though it may seem false based on current circumstances, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Your wealth assumption isn't wishful thinking. It's the most practical thing you can do to create lasting financial abundance. The law of assumption is not a theory. It's the fundamental principle by which consciousness creates reality. When you truly understand and apply this law to your wealth creation, you'll discover that becoming wealthy isn't about changing your external circumstances. It's about changing your internal assumptions. Your wealthy self already exists in consciousness. Your wealth assumption is how you claim that reality and bring it into your lived experience.